Hi, Jen Paul here. Thought I would give you a no diet tip. A no diet tip. So, at this stage in my life, I've been experimenting with all different kinds of diets. I basically will buy a book, try their diet for the recommended amount of time, and just see what it does to my body, see how it responds, if it likes it. And I don't necessarily mean a diet to always lose weight, but just some dietary changes, either for vitality or for weight loss or maintaining weight loss to get out of a slump, to boost your hormones so that they start cooperating with you versus fighting you. And so over the years, I wish I could kept a list of everything I've tried, but if I hear it, I'll definitely know I have tried it or not. And so what I've learned is that I don't do well dieting or with restriction, but what I do better with is how to eat properly is better for me, and I can keep that process in control to maintain the bracket of weight I like to stay in. So I have a basically a 5 pound range that I like to stay in. So that gives me like my low weight, it gives me a bloated weight, or a cheat day weight where I might want chocolate cake or some cookie dough or what have you, or some nachos or just something that just an extra thing that you would never eat. But basically, Monday through Saturday, pretty much eat the same things for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Keep pretty strict. Sundays is our free day, so I'll venture a little bit out on my lunch and usually have some kind of dessert at night. But the number one no diet trick that I use is basically learning how to eat slow. And I got it from a lady who used to be a skinny girl, ended up becoming sort of a fat girl, and wanted to become a skinny girl again. And so what she did is she started interviewing all of her skinny friends that had stayed skinny while she had gained weight. And she wanted to know the difference between her and them. And one thing she saw, the difference between the two, was that nearly all of her shirts had a stain on the front. And hardly any of her skinny girl friends had stains on her shirts. And so when I was reading this book and I heard this, I literally thought of all the stains I had on my shirts over the years. And it made me really sad. Here's why. When you have a stain on your shirt, now there's always the occasional accident that something falls off your fork, um, something drops out of your mouth because it's too hot. Um, and those are, expected, and you can kind of understand those accidents. But the stain on the shirt that I'm referring to is the stain that you get when you are shoveling your food in too fast. So fast that from fork and plate to fork to mouth, you can't even manage that. Now, I'm speaking from experience because I had these stains on my shirts, but this is something that I chose to literally master. And so it's the art of eating slow and mindful. And really, all you need to do is when you get your plate of food, I always use actually a smaller fork than a dinner fork. Like I use like a small salad fork. So I take nice small bites. I make sure that I either have it on the fork, it's nice. I don't try to shovel. I try to usually stab, and whatever fits on that small fork is what goes in my mouth. But I can still scoop with my fork. But really, the whole idea is to be slow and methodical about it. So as you're picking up your food from your plate, you make sure it's sturdy, and then you put it in your mouth, chew it about 30 times, swallow, and I set the fork down. Now, I literally set the fork down between every bite. The other thing is just making sure that you're very slow and deliberate of getting it from the plate into your mouth. And as long as you're not in a rush, you should never have another stain on your shirt because you would be able to address the drips, you would be able to address the dangling lettuce or the hanging over noodle or the sauce on whatever. But you have to be slow and methodical and think about it. And this is just what I call skinny girl tricks. There's just things that thin people do that overweight people don't do. And over the years, when I've wanted to lower my weight and get to a bracket that makes me happy. Now, this is not intended to shame anybody who considers themselves overweight or fat or however you want to word it. That's not what this is about. Everyone has to find their own happy place where they're at with their weight. I don't care if you're a size 0, a size 10, or a size 20. As long as you're content and happy with it, I'm happy for you. So there's no body judging, no shame judging. Just for me, I'm happier at a smaller size. I like being flexible. I like being agile. I like being fast. I like having movement and being able to rotate and be able to move my body very easily. And with extra weight, for me, it made it a lot harder. I also come from a swimming, aerobic, dancing, weightlifting, athletic background. So I've kind of always been into movement. It's a very easy transition for me. But what I wasn't good at was eating. And my history goes something like this, as a middle schooler and a high schooler, I was an athlete. So the diet I ate was more functional for performance. And I was always into something that was very high aerobics. And I mainly was a swimmer. And in swimming, you need an exorbitant amount of carbohydrates to sustain yourself. And so I didn't have to watch what I ate because I was all about performance. And then when I got in my 20s, I started doing aerobics, step aerobics. I started riding my bike. I played co-ed softball. And I danced a lot when I was in high school and middle school with a dance team back in my hometown. So I just didn't mind what I ate at all. Well, as I got older and my activity started slowing down, I just found myself still eating that same way a lot, and the weight was loading on. And so I had to find a way to keep my sanity. And I like things that are very, kind of systems, very predictable, especially when it comes to food. I just don't vary a lot. I know I like to make my gut happy and things like that. So, to if you have stains on your shirt, I just want you to really consider why those stains were there. Was it an accident, or was it because you were scarfing? And for me, I would have said 95% of all my stains on my shirt were from scarfing. They weren't from accidents. They were me eating too fast, shoveling too much in, just being too hurried with my food. So, my challenge for you today is just take the time to enjoy your food, lift it up to your mouth without anything dropping on your shirt because you're taking the time and care to nurture yourself and nurture your food. And stop getting stains on your shirt, stop shoveling it in, and feel really good about yourself and start enjoying your food. Because to me, food should really be enjoyed. It should be a magical experience. Um, I food should not just only be for survival. There should be some wonderful pleasure to it. Some people like just to eat to live, and some people live to eat. I definitely eat to live. So I want my plate to be colorful, nutritious, but I also want to eat my wonderful plate correctly. And that means slowing down. And the stain on the shirt's just a clue of how you're taking care of yourself. And so let this be a moment and a short lesson to take care of yourself so that you can eat properly, keep your clothes clean, and feel really good about nurturing yourself through your diet. So, this your challenge for your skinny girl problems today is take your time, no stains, and enjoy your meals.